Red Bull and coffee.
That's right.
That's how we do it.
That's how we do it.
Cheers.
Wish it was beer and wine, but you know.
That's right. Next time.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I guess it is the afternoon still. But anyway, wherever you might be or whatever time it might be, thank you for joining us and welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Playbook podcast. Good to be back. I took maybe 2 weeks off, something like that, from doing this. So I might be a little rusty today, guys, but bear with me. Thankfully, I have a great guest today. Some might refer to her as the Machine, just because of her last name. So I shall do my introduction now. Her name is Alexis Machin. Alexis, thank you for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Cue the applause. You know what I mean? Alexis, I appreciate you sitting down with me today. So how long have you been at 54 Realty now?
About a year. I just hit my year anniversary.
Okay, sweet. So I asked because I feel like I know you pretty well at this point. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's people out there that don't know you at all.
Okay.
So shall we begin by having you tell me a little bit about how you got your start in the real estate world?
Absolutely. So I've always wanted to be a realtor since I was in high school.
Oh, yeah?
Always. Growing up, I wanted to be one, but life happened and I actually went into the event industry for years. Event planner, event producer, all that. So that was fun times, but after having a baby, I decided that I needed something a little different. Got into the whole sales thing, and then, COVID hit.
That it did.
It's usually how everyone's story starts.
Honestly,
COVID hit. So once COVID hit, I decided, okay, what are my next steps? And I'm like, let me just pursue something I've always wanted to do, and here I am.
The rest is history.
The rest is history, yes.
And can I ask, how did you hear about the brokerage specifically?
Funny story. I actually stumbled upon it by accident. I thought I knew where I was going. My head was set on it, but I kept on interviewing other brokers just, to make sure. And then I was calling another brokerage. I was just kind of Googling who to get in touch with. And it led me to someone that used to work here at 54, her cell phone. And so when she's like, oh no, I wouldn't go there. I'd come here. I'm like, all right, well, where are you? And so she's like, 54 Realty. I'm like, oh my God, I pass that billboard all the time. I was like, it's fate. Why not?
Honestly, yeah.
And then the rest is definitely history because I met with Joe and I was just like, okay, I feel like I thought I knew what I wanted, but after meeting with Joe and Rose, I just felt my heart kind of tugging this way, which I'm so glad it did.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Well, thank you.
And it's funny, I hear that story a lot. People talk to Joe and Rose and they're like, I was
Done.
sold.
Yeah.
Even people that haven't been on here, just talking to them outside of this. And they'll say, yeah.
Because it was the culture, I'm big on culture. I'm not a corporate-y person. I don't know if you could tell or not.
Amen.
But
Amen.
I was they were just cool and just everything, the opportunity here at 54, it was just tugging. I'm like, okay, this is where I need to be. And so, like I said, I'm so glad that it did.
Well, that's awesome. So how long have you been licensed now? About how long?
A year.
A year. Yes. Okay, that's going to make what I'm about to say that much more impressive.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm going to toot your horn a little bit here, Alexis.
Okay. Toot. I'm ready.
Toot, toot. So, Alexis, just within a year, you've had, great success. Let's talk about a few things in that regard. So the first thing is, for people that don't know, I might have mentioned it before on here, but we have two divisions here, agent divisions at 54 Realty. Leads division and independent. Leads division is great for newer agents or people don't have a super significant sphere built out because there's leads, obviously.
Right.
Independent is for, usually higher level producers or people that have just been in the game for longer. I think the split's a little different. I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. But Alexis very recently made the transition to being an independent agent.
Yes,
so more applause emojis there for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that's very awesome. You also had a really big month. I want to say it was in February. I could be wrong.
No, it's February.
It was 5 million, almost 6, which we just said. But, 5 million a month is pretty insane. I think the only other person at the brokerage who has been at or around that was Jordan, actually.
Yep.
So finally someone can knock him down a low peg. You know what I'm saying? No, I love Jordan. Yeah, he's going to come for me after this. He's going to text me what's wrong with you, man? But Alexis, those are both huge accomplishments, especially in such a short amount of time, or a year might not be that short amount of a time, but in the real estate game.
Well, yes, it was a short amount of time. I definitely didn't start. It was almost all my hard work leading up. I was really averaging about a closing a month, which was okay. I know I wanted more. So I just kept on putting my head down and going at it. And then I was kind of struggling there for a couple months. And all of a sudden, everything that I was working towards just kind of, it just started the snowball effect.
Yeah.
In November, I put 5 people under contract. And then all of a sudden it just didn't stop from there. I'm like, okay, so the leads were picking up, my sphere was coming in and and then my lead became my sphere because I started working with, their company as a whole and a few people there. And it just snowballed into what I still can't really wrap my head around, but I'm very excited for it and I'm here for it. I just, my biggest thing was there was a point there that I was getting really stressed out because, as you know, we're on our own here.
Exactly.
So no closings means no money.
That's right.
I went a couple months without a closing and I was like really stressed about it. But then I just, again, kept positive thoughts. Like, we got this, keep your head down, keep going. And I don't even know what happened after that. I'm just here for it.
Hey,
I'm here for it. And that's all I can say. I don't know what else. I don't know.
Could be right place, right time, but I think it has a lot to do with you as well.
Oh, thank you.
So my question for you is, do you think that's something that's achievable for any agent, or does it require a certain set of like skills or personality?
But I mean, personality.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I love having fun doing what I do. And I'm a people person, relationship person. So my biggest thing is coming in and you have to, yes, it's about the money. Yes, it's about the sale. For sure. But to me, more importantly, it's about relationships and really building that relationship so they trust you and they refer you. And then, I think personality has a lot to do with it. Without a doubt. Because if people don't connect with you in a certain way, they're going to go somewhere else. So that's one of my biggest things is coming in and really getting to know them as a person, not just as a price tag. And that's it. Yeah. That seems to make sense. So that I think is an effective strategy because, like, not to sound like a broken record again, I'm not a realtor. You know this. Right. We all know this, right? But like, I learned so much from talking to different people at different stages in their career. And something that everybody says is it's like at the beginning you might struggle, but if you go in with the right attitude and like you're saying, and keep going, treat them as a person, not a price tag. They're more likely, even if they don't buy or sell with you right away, to come back and be like, man, I remember Alexis. She was a fun-loving gal. I'm gonna call her when I'm ready, Right. So and that's what's happened. Like, people, we're not ready yet, and then they come back when they are, and that's happening a lot now too. So I think it has a lot to do with it. If you don't really connect with them, they're not gonna remember you. Yeah. So that's and the snowball won't happen. Yeah, the snowball. You need the snowball. For sure. So that's awesome, Alexis. So I guess when you started, it was right in the middle of, as you said, when COVID hit, where we were in the seller's market then. Obviously, we still are, right? And every time I bring this up, I like cringe a little bit because we all talk about the market all day, but... What else are we to talk about? Yeah, exactly, right? Are you seeing anything new or crazy right now, or has it kind of been the same? And I guess from a different angle, are you taking any new strategies in this year that you maybe didn't last year? It's getting, to me, I thought it was like catching itself up, but now I just feel like it's like crazy. Yeah. I mean, even someone from this brokerage was listening and they went in, they got it under contract for 85 over, which is insane to me. Good God. But yeah, and that's what's just like, that's what's happening, and everyone just keeps on going higher and higher. And there's a lot of buyers that can't keep up with it, and it's crazy. My approach, and especially as I keep learning, is I like to really try, because some of the agents on the other side aren't as cooperative, but I really like to try to build a relationship with them as well, because I feel like that has a lot to do with, obviously I know that they're sellers the one making the decision, but they're also, if you build that relationship with them, you're maybe going to get a little bit more info than they would give anyone that's not, or just putting in the offer. So I really try to, before we even put in the offer, start kind of building that rapport with the list agent. That way I can really know what is driving the seller, and then we can go in like that. So communication for me is what's helping me. Believe me, we're not getting all of them, but I really try to connect with the listing agent when we're going on the buy side. I think that's a good angle. Like, and you mentioned at the start of your answer there that sometimes you'll deal with agents on the other side that aren't super communicative or super friendly. I'm very like, hey. Yeah. Some people are like, oh, hi. I'm like, okay. Read the room. I see your level. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. So it's, some will be, chummy, and I'll know off the bat, like if I can, what I can push, what I can't.
Yeah.
Because the ones that are like just one answer text or one, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get it. We're just going to have to cross our fingers with this one. But I'll always try because it doesn't hurt. So that is my biggest thing, is to really kind of go in and try to build a rapport with everyone in the transaction.
For sure.
So if we do get it, then it's going to be kind of easy flowing from there.
Yeah, my mom and my dad as well always told me, like, you never know who you're going to run into again. So be nice to everybody that you meet.
It's hard.
Right? Yeah.
Good advice.
You never know when you might end up working a deal with them again.
Exactly.
So Alexis, to continue to toot your horn a little bit, everybody has strengths, everybody has weaknesses. In your real estate career specifically, what would you say is your biggest strength or something that has contributed to your success?
Going back to probably my communication.
Yeah.
With everyone in the transaction. I feel like that is when I close on something, a lot of times I still have relationships with the list agent because that's how many times we've communicated throughout the transaction.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's communication and having the right personality, not being that like,
yeah.
We're all bitter. Okay, I know we all have our days, but it's just like not really. Just keep on going.
You'd think there'd be a sense of camaraderie almost, because
sometimes there is. Majority there is.
Okay,
there
that's
are
good
a
to know.
handful that you don't get that from. You don't know what they're going through though, so I won't judge. But yeah, so that it's definitely the communication for me.
For sure. Now you've had a couple listings as well, right?
Yep, a couple listings.
So I know that's like the golden ticket in this era, right?
It was, I'm not gonna lie, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Everyone wants the listing, and it's like, yes, I got the listing.
Yeah.
And then you go in, and it's like, oh my God, my phone. I was never as busy because my phone was. It was a great property in Odessa, and I didn't stop for days. It was constant texting, people calling. I was like, I feel very overwhelmed with this.
For sure.
But at the same time, obviously, it's really cool to be on the other side.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, people are calling me, doing what I do to them. Like, so tell me more about yourself. I'm like, oh, I get to play this role now.
Do the evil
this
sort of,
is good. Yeah. So there's definitely, there's some perks, but it depends on the listing as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Then I had another one that was easy breezy. So I'm like, okay, well then maybe I do like this a little bit more. So yeah, I've only had a few. I am definitely more on the buy side.
Yeah.
But I have some listings coming up as well. So that's all
sweet.
good too.
Okay. Keep an eye out, people. What did you, I can't remember who I asked this to, but somebody who was they do a lot of listings or whatever, but might have been Chris, but I'm just curious, and you don't have to, spill any secret sauce or anything like that. But because these listings are like such a hot ticket for agents right now, are there any sort of approaches that you take when you're trying to actually get the listing agreement signed by the client, or is it just you'd approach it like any other client, really?
To me, any other client, but it's more of it's listening. You have to listen to what they want because when I pull comps and we go in to have a discussion, what I feel their house is worth, they feel something different.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes it that starts kind of, well, no, I want to list it for this. I'm like, okay. I mean, we can, but get the comps. But comps nowadays too, the market's moving so fast. I don't even know if we can. I mean, it's just being strategic about it. And there's one that I listed and it was higher than I thought that I wanted to list it, and we got over that. So I'm like, okay, well then what do I know? Let's go. So
does not hurt.
You never know. You never know. But yeah, I feel like it's definitely a different strategy, but it is communicating. It's hearing them, what they want out of it, and trying to be that person for them instead of saying, no, this is the way we need to do it.
For sure.
It's more of, okay, well, this is what I feel, but if you feel this way, then we'll go that way. And let's see. Hope they prove me wrong.
Yeah, right. That's nice sometimes,
Yeah.
It's a consultative approach, as I've heard it referred
That is correct.
To, right?
I like it.
It's good, huh?
I like it.
Trademark. I'm only kidding. So Alexis, obviously you've had a lot of success over the last year, even in this very difficult market that we're in. A lot of strengths, obviously, that you have.
Thank you.
On the other hand, excuse me, everybody has obstacles or hurdles that they've faced. I'm sure as a new agent as well, there were plenty of them. What kinds of things did you, or maybe are you still not necessarily struggling with, but something that you're working on bettering about yourself?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Learning all sides. There's so much to a transaction. There's sometimes that I'm like, how they say fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm Googling what does it mean?
Let me text somebody real
right.
quick,
So I feel like for me, it's just continuing to learn everything that goes on, the title side,
Yeah.
all that, there's so many moving parts to it. So as I go with the transaction, there's no transaction the same. So it's really just, me learning every aspect of, not saying the contract, but on the contract aspect, on the listing aspect, on the title, on the lender. There's so much to it, the appraisals. So it's just learning as I go. So there's some things that I'm, my strengths are higher on one side and then the others I'm
Right.
like, oh. But yeah, so it's more of just learning everything that has to.
That you can be faced with.
Yeah.
I think
and
that's
it's ongoing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people, I've heard from agents that they're 10 years in it and they're like, I'm still learning every day. So
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest obstacle for me is coming across that I, even if I don't, just learning it, taking the time to figure
For
it
sure.
out.
Yeah, like you said, I think that's true with everybody at any stage in their real estate career. Like I reference this all the time, but Chris said that on like one of the first couple episodes. She's like, because I was, bragging about her or whatever. I was like, Chris, is there anything you don't know? And she's like, trust me. Like,
There's so much. I mean, even people have agents calling me and spewing out things. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Let me write it.
Absolutely. I know exactly what that is. So it's just, it is that. It's just like taking the, that I am newer to the game and in this market. So it is really just kind of learning everything that there is to learn. It could be overwhelming to newer agents coming in.
Yeah. And then you have all different types of people as well, right?
All different types of people.
As we mentioned with the agents, but then of course clients as well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really just, again, I was always in the sales part. I always dealt with people. So I think early on, everything happens the way it's supposed to. So I think I was supposed to go through what I went through in my career to get me to this point because the relationships, meeting people, trying to get trying to connect with them in that way. You got to know how to do that.
For sure.
So I feel like, everything that I've learned in the past has really kind of set me up for this because you do meet so many different people.
Yeah.
You got to meet them where they're at, kind of.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to adjust your own personality.
100%.
Yeah.
But then I always let it peek through because, come on. Listen, I'll give you a preview when I first meet you. I'll be subtle professional. But then, I have to once I get what kind of gets them going and to bring them out of their shell, I take full advantage.
Then you're all right.
And it's on. Game on.
Now, trying to think of how to phrase this, but I did talk to some other people on other episodes about being a brand new agent or some other people like just being a super young agent, that sort of thing. I'm wondering in the early stages of your real estate career, was that a hurdle for you? Like when you were talking to clients and other agents when they
terrified to take a lead. It took me a month to even just take a lead.
Really?
Oh yeah. Because it's I know how to talk to people clearly, but I didn't know, I always say I have the gift of gab. I just need to know what I'm gabbing about.
Yeah.
So it's for me not knowing anything.
Oh, that's good.
I was like, I don't want to take a lead. I remember Allison being my team lead. She was just like, just do it. Just do it. And Rose even told me fail forward, just go. I'm like, okay, I'll go. Once I did that, and once I I caught that first lead, I was like, oh,
it ain't so
what am I
bad.
afraid about? I got this. I remember going to show my first house, and she's like, we want to put an offer, and I'm calling Allison, now what do I do?
Yeah. What's next?
What's going on? Yeah. So it's it was a struggle for sure. But once you start, I think for me, I know me and how I learn. It was more of I need to see it the whole way through. Because once I can see how the transaction works, what the next step is, what I need to do next, once I really got that, I was like, oh, all right, I got this.
Yeah.
And then it kept on going. But it could be definitely intimidating because you just don't. And then I had a sales background. I can't imagine someone coming in that doesn't have that background and how intimidating it must be for them.
Yeah.
But, they do it and eventually we get it. I don't know how, but we do it.
Like you said, it's just you got to not be afraid of that. Yeah, you might completely fail the first time around, but at least you did it and you got over what I've heard to the team leaders actually referred to it as the first lead jitters.
Oh my God. It was horrible. I was like, oh. And of course my first lead wanted to put a contract on the first house that we saw, which is amazing, but I'm just well, now what do I do?
There was no
what
buffer.
Questions do I ask?
Yeah.
What do I do here? So thank God for Allison. She talked me off the ledge. I was fine. It all worked out. So yeah.
Well, God bless. And here you are.
And here I am.
So new agents, if you're listening, it's not as bad as it seems.
Keep on going.
Keep on going. Even if it's terrible, you'll be all right.
Yes, you'll be fine.
You'll be just fine. So speaking of going back in time, that sort of thing, Alexis, if you could rewind to before you started your real estate career, You said up top that you always wanted to be an agent, but let's say you didn't and you could see yourself doing something maybe a little bit different. What might you be doing at this time?
I always said that I wanted to be a psychiatrist.
Ooh, I've heard that before too. Yeah.
It's like maybe that's why this job is so great for me, because that is
Honestly.
my part-time job.
Yeah.
It's like talking my clients off the ledge.
Off the ledge, yeah.
So I always loved, I love giving advice. I love helping people and, teaching people something that I've learned. So that is my favorite thing to do. So I would have loved to be a counselor, a psychiatrist, something of that sort.
I could see you in that role. Just going into your office, I'm sitting on the chair like, Alexis, I don't know. Yeah. No, that's cool.
I'm here for you.
Yeah. I appreciate it. It's funny though. I have heard that from other agents, like either they want to be a psychiatrist or like now that they're in this role, they're like, man, I could see myself doing it because like you said,
You are.
you pretty much are. Yeah.
We are. That's what I do. My part-time job is talking people off ledges. So, but I love that part. Like I love being able to, if they're struggling with something, I had a client that put an offer on and we got it. And this was her dream house. And then she was like, oh, but the drive and then this. I'm like, okay. So I'm literally talking about carpool, what she can do. I'm like planning out her whole day for her so she can rest easy.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, now I feel better. I was like,
Or you know what, you're right.
yeah. Okay. I charge an extra fee on the side.
Yeah, exactly. By the hour. Thank you very
By
much.
the hour, yes, absolutely.
Do you think that, trying to think of how to word this, but to be someone who is not opposed to giving advice and helping people and that sort of thing, not everybody's like that, right? Some people might get annoyed by the overwhelming amount of emotion that can occur in these transactions. Yeah. Do you think that it can help you be a more successful agent to have the approach that you have, which is like, I know that this is a big purchase.
Yeah, because you have to have empathy towards these people. Like, this is a big purchase, and Huge. If they're uncomfortable in some way, you got to figure out why that is, help them through it. And if it's not the right house for them, then it's not.
Yeah.
But then if it is, and they're just, so I like to dig in deep though. That's me with my family, my friends, my clients. I just want to know like why.
Yeah.
I will sit there until we figure this out. I'm a problem solver. We're going to get to the bottom of this. So that is, I think it's very important, because if you don't, they're not going to feel that you care.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not just opening up a door, putting in a contract, and then like
dipping
on the other end.
Yeah.
You gotta, sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. Or I'm like, here we go. I gotta like prep myself when I know they're calling, because I know it's about to
crack the knuckles.
But yeah, so I feel like it is very important, if not the most important part of this, is to have empathy to your clients and to help them through the process.
I think that's good for people to hear, agents and clients alike, because as you said up top, be people, not a price tag.
That's right.
You need to trademark that, by the way.
Easy. It's happening.
So, Alexis, that's awesome, by the way. I appreciate you saying that, because, I'm sure there are people out there that approach it much differently.
Much different, yeah. And then, hey, to each his own.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just what works
if it works for you, then...
Right. Works for me. I'm good.
So, we kind of burned through those questions really fast. Very natural with you here, Alexis. We always end with pretty much the same thing. And I think this is good for you, especially if you could talk to like a new agent out there, someone who's just starting, which is funny because we have a lot of them now here at the brokerage. And you could give them a piece of advice based on your experience. What would you tell them?
Keep going, because it's, again, there was a time there that I was probably 6 months in, and I was like, oh my God.
Why did I do this?
What am I doing? I need money. This is why I didn't reasons when I was younger, I didn't go into it, but there were so many times throughout my career that I was maybe doing a shift and I was like, oh, should I get my real estate license? I was like, no, I need a salary.
Yeah.
I need the comfort. I need that security blanket. So I never did it because of that reason. So obviously going in and then having those couple months of like struggle, I was like, oh my God, this is why. This is
what I told myself. Yeah.
This is why I didn't go into it. I need the money. I was even thinking about getting a part-time job because I was so nervous and scared. But I kept my head down and I kept going. And then everything that I was working so hard for just started that snowball, like we discussed. So it was like, okay, all right, it's fine. So you're going to go through this. And I'm prepped for that. It's been absolutely insane the last couple months for me, which I'm grateful for. But I'm so blessed and loving it. But also I am preparing myself for like, is it always going to be like that?
Yeah.
Probably not. So it is just that even when it gets hard, just keep going. Because it's going to eventually, your hard work will pay off if you show up.
Show up for yourself, show up for your clients.
Yeah, absolutely.
Show up for your career.
Yeah, you got to, because there's so many people that, think, oh, it's going to be easy and we're going to go in here and it's just going to like come to us. Yeah, 54 is amazing because we get all these amazing leads and opportunities, but it's what you do with them. And even if they don't work, then you keep on going. So that's my thing, is keep going.
That's great advice. And it leads me to something that gets brought up on here a lot again.
Okay.
Broken record once again. Have you ever seen the meme where it's like a guy and he's got a pickaxe and he's like mining or something, right?
Is that what you feel like?
This would be like a new agent, right?
Okay, yeah.
He's mining, right? And he stops right before he gets to like the diamonds or whatever, and he turns around.
Right.
And I always think of that when somebody says something like what you just said, where
Yeah,
that
if
gold.
I stopped because I was stressed out, I would have never hit the sweet spot, right?
Exactly.
Like that I would have never done it if at that moment, at my breaking point where I was like having a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
Like, I need money.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have been able, if I just stopped and was like, well, see, this is why I didn't want to do it, and then I gave up, I wouldn't have hit that
You wouldn't be
sweet
here.
spot where it just started rolling off, and then,
And I probably wouldn't get to do a podcast with you either.
See?
Teardrop. Alexis, that's a great piece of advice. I appreciate it. Honestly, that's all I had for you today. I really appreciate you making the time because I know you're super busy.
Of course.
Now, if the people out there want to buy or sell with you, how can they reach you?
Like, what do you want, my personal information?
You don't have to put out your phone number if you want them to follow you on Instagram or something.
So I'm Alexis _ your homegirl, because that is my slogan.
There you go.
There, and I mean, email me.
Call me, beat me if you want to reach me.
Whatever you need.
Yeah, you don't have to put your phone number out there.
Okay, I'm like, do I like
my
information?
You don't have to. No. Sweet. So follow her, guys. Alexis, the machine, your homegirl, thebomb.com. I'm going to put an explosion right there or something.
Please do.
Oh, yeah. There's the clip right there. Listen, guys, thank you for tuning in. It's good to be back. We'll see you next week. Make sure you follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. You're tired of hearing me saying it, so just do it. And have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.